Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
You are listening to the financialsurvivalnetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1230 WBZT, and it's time for another Triple Lutz Report. This is episode 275. The date is June 24th, 2013. Just got done moving to a new house. Yeah, I moved yet again. The other house was temporary, a seasonal rental. Some people I rented it from were on a temporary assignment overseas. This one's a little more permanent. So, moving horror stories. I don't know if you've ever experienced a horror move. So, I'm looking for a moving company, and I've only got my office, the furniture there, some boxes, my clothes, which I'm going to move on my own anyway. So I do a Craigslist thing. I go on Craigslist, find what looks to be a mover that's reputable. They've got a lot of ads on Craigslist. I figured they would have been knocked off of Craigslist long ago had they been shady. So I call the guy up. They're going to get there 8 o'clock on Friday morning. It's going to be a 2-3 hour move. And everything's going to be fine. Sounds like an Israeli or a Russian outfit. Fine. They're coming. And I get a call from them at 9:30. Hey, good news. Can we come at 7 o'clock? Because we're going to get a job later in the afternoon. So it would really help us if we could come at 7. Yes, this is great. I'm thrilled. So I get everything ready. I've got everything boxed up. 7 o'clock comes, and you know the story. 7 o'clock, they're not there. 7:15, I call. I text him. I get a text back. The truck broke. I texted him back. I said, look, if you're not going to come, just tell me now, please. No, we're coming. He calls me. No, we're getting a new truck. It'll be 8:30. I said, just tell me if you're not going to come. All I want to know is that you're going to be here. If you're not, that's fine. Just please tell me. And we go back and forth. Finally, he says, no, we're picking up the truck at 10:30. I said, look, if you don't get it at 10:30, forget it. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to go back and forth with you. It's ridiculous. Okay? Until I hear that you're on the road, forget it. So at 10:30, I just sent him back a text. I said, the move is canceled. Forget about it. So this is where the Starbucks support group comes in so handy, because all I had was about 2 desks, a couple of credenzas, a file cabinet, a bunch of lighting fixtures, and my equipment, my computers, all that stuff. So at the Starbucks at 9 o'clock, bemoaning my fate, and one of the guys says, well, look, why don't you just rent a U-Haul, and then you go to U-Haul's site, and you can hire guys from moving companies that aren't being used, and you just click, you pay for them, and they show up. It's what I did when I moved from Ohio or wherever Mike was from, and it's great. They call you, they show up, works really well. I said, Mike, that's really a great thing. So I arrange for Sunday. I rent the truck. I hire a couple of schleppers, 2 of them for 2 hours, and I pay $60 an hour for each. Actually, it was $120. So effectively, I'm paying $30 per hour each. Good deal. And they're supposed to be there at 10 o'clock. Well, they had GPS, which consisted of licking your finger, sticking it in the air, and they could not find my house for the life of them. And this is understandable because in the place where I live, it is a rat's maze. They gridded it. It's all gridded streets, but unless you know where you're going or you have GPS, You cannot find the place. It's a bear to find. And eventually they got there an hour and 10 minutes late, but I had visions of the last mover, and I was really upset. I was sending texts and emails and leaving nasty messages for the mover. Finally, they got there. Two Spanish guys, Edwin, I don't remember the other one's name, the nicest people you ever want to encounter. They were so nice. I gave them larger tips than I should have. They couldn't have been nicer. They couldn't do enough for you. And we got everything moved over in the course of 2.5 hours and got everything set up. So, of course, I set up my computer. I've got this Apple Mini. It was really jacked up, boosted up. That's why my sound usually sounds pretty good here. And, of course, the damn thing crashes. So I find this out at 7 o'clock, and I can't be without a computer. I could have hooked up my notebook, but I found myself in South Beach at the Apple store. It was the only one open late at 9 o'clock last night because I was supposed to interview Jim Rogers at 11 a.m. this morning. So I'm online there, and the place, they were giving something away. I don't know if they were giving away drugs, underage Thai prostitutes, or they were just selling computers, but they were giving something away because there was an hour wait at the store. And I am physically and mentally exhausted. My body and my mind is shutting down. I buy a new computer, and I get it here. And, of course, my backup won't restore my old data. And finally, I just said, I'm getting Skype working. I'm getting my equipment working. Fortunately, my microphone, my mixer, all that stuff, my recorder, everything works. Forget about my data. I'll get that working another day. I'm not getting stressed out about it. I'm just providing information to you, some stories. My experience in moving, it's just Murphy's Law. You just have to go with it. That's what these markets are like. That's what the precious metals markets have been like the past couple of weeks. Don't worry about it. Just keep stacking. I'm not worrying about it. I'm just going on with my life. In the meantime, I've got this incredible studio here. The office is about 14 by 14 feet, 14 feet by 14 feet. It's got its own bathroom. My assistant Brett's here. I'll shoot some pictures up when we get it nice and set up. It's just a great space. It's just really nice and really facilitates what I'm trying to do a lot better here. I want to start doing some videos. Not all the time. I don't think I really have that great a television look, but I really want to get you some videos out because I know they're more effective, better than they enable you to just get a better insight to what we're doing here. And up next, I want to talk about a couple of things: the over-levered Japanese stock market, financial markets. I want to talk about the welfare state because there's something in Forbes that I consider to be the definitive statement, disposition on the U.S. welfare state today. So listen up. We'll be right back. And thanks for sticking with me through this move. It's been the mother of all. Well, you know what I mean. Thanks. Hey, if you're a coffee connoisseur like me, you need to try an amazing new roaster out of L.A., Tonks Coffee. These guys are fanatical about delivering the best beans in the world. They source directly from the growers, roast it, and ship it to you within 24 hours, so it's the most fresh coffee you've ever tasted. Every 2 weeks, you get a new batch of incredible beans roasted to perfection. If you're hitting a cafe most mornings, this is a much better and more economical way to get great coffee. Tonks is by subscription only, and they're offering you a free sample. Use the URL tonks.org/liberty. That's TONX.org/liberty. Get some for yourself or send it to someone you know who appreciates the finer things. Tonks tonx.org/liberty. Again, tonx.org/liberty. And we are back. So here's the thing. Mish Shedlock, he's a friend of the show. You know Mish. And he's talking about the Japanese stock market using 300% leverage. What can possibly go wrong? And it's really quite entertaining because day traders now in Japan are allowed to use 300% leverage. And basically, they're talking about a guy who's sitting in his apartment before a cluster of computer screens, much like what I do here, but I'm not day trading. I'm actually producing media content. And the guy's name is Naoki Murakami, and in seconds, he makes $3,500 betting $1 million that Tokyo Electric Power Company will fall a fraction of a percent. And it's rather remarkable because this is the company that has the Fukushima reactors that all melted down due to the tsunami and the earthquakes. And he's part of a group of guys that regularly bet $80 to $100 million a day. And what happened, he regularly leverages $4.5 million in cash into as much as $67 million in daily stock market bets. And, or I should say, one of his friends does that. He's probably betting nearly that much. So the guy's got a net worth of $4.5 million, and he's betting as much as $67 million a day. And multiply that times thousands, perhaps even hundreds of thousands of people, and you get an idea of what's going on in these markets. It's really dangerous when a few thousands of these people get wiped out, or tens of thousands. A meltdown in the markets can spread, and it can become a global panic overnight, literally. Because when you're sleeping, these guys are gambling. Now, hey, I used to love watching the dice, hit, playing blackjack in the casinos in Connecticut. But if I lose a few $1,000, not much is going to happen to the global economy. These guys lose a few billion, and it's like dominoes. And then you've got brokerage houses all over the place, all over the world, betting like this, betting like drunken sailors, betting billions and billions, and this is all leverage on top of leverage on top of leverage, and then you've got too big to fail national banks doing the same thing, and they're betting trillions, and leverage on top of leverage on top of leverage, and the question is posed, well, what can possibly go wrong? And with leveraged day trading and leveraged too big to fail trading, a lot can go wrong. And even though they've got their book, supposedly their risk is laid off onto others, everybody's laying their risk off onto everybody else. And all I know is when the day traders start to lose, it's going to be dominoes, and everybody's going to lose. We're hitting this period of heightened volatility. It ain't going to take much. Rising interest rates, increased losses, all of a sudden, man, this thing is just going to come crashing down. And who's going to pay these losses? Well, I guarantee you the too big to fails aren't going to be paying it, but somebody's going to have to pay it. And maybe Yoki Makura, he'll be paying it, but too big to fail, they aren't. On to the next thing. This is an article. Go over to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Stefan, the human aggregator, he's posted it. And, hey, by the way, you will get to meet Stefan Banda, our webmaster, the human aggregator, at the Liberty Mastermind Symposium in Dallas. So come there. Go to libertymastermind.us. Sign up now. We're just extending the discount till the day of the symposium. You save $50. Just sign up. We really want to see you. We're getting a really good turnout, especially for the first one of these things. It's going to be great to see you there. And libertymastermind.us. But the welfare state, like this is written by Peter Ferrara. He is one of my favorite contributors to Forbes. I'd like to call him conservative, bordering on libertarian, but he really goes into what the welfare state is all about. And did you know that since the Great Society, that we have spent $16 trillion, and during that time, would you believe that poverty has actually increased? And what's happened is that, surprise, poor people are working less than they did before these programs existed. And poor families have broken up. There are less nuclear poor families than there used to be, and more poor people being born out of wedlock. Surprise. None of this should surprise you if you've listened to the Financial Survival Network or you've read elsewhere, because this is what's going on all over the world. And eventually, anti-poverty programs lead to higher poverty. Couldn't be any more simple. Milton Friedman said this for years and years. Point here, and I don't want to belabor this too much, but you should read this article. It's a great thing, and it really illustrates the point that if you want to get rid of poverty, get rid of anti-poverty programs. If you want to get rid of poverty, encourage people to work, encourage businesses to expand, cut taxes. This is what you need to do. It's just so simple. It's so basic, because the more people work, the less poverty you have. I mean, I don't know how much more simple to make it, but yet the establishment, the welfare state, the people that feed off of this are really the ones that cause poverty. And they want poverty. They want you to be poor. They want you to be dependent upon the state, because this is what makes their world go round. This is how they build their power. This is how they stay in power. And this is how they make you dependent upon them. That's what it's all about. So it's been another Triple Lutz report. We got lots more coming. We'll get Jim Rogers later. And stay tuned for Ranting Andy Hoffman. He's got a lot to say. And we'll see you in Dallas.
Hi, it's Kerry Lutz. I recently decided to move my retirement account into physical precious metals to hedge against the coming times. If you want to move an existing retirement account into physical precious metals that you can hold in your hand, tax-free, there's no company that can do it more quickly and efficiently than Regal Assets. It took them just 24 hours to open my new IRA account, and all I had to do was fill out one simple form. The best part is that Regal Assets does all the work for you. They cover the setup and administrative costs for 2013. If you're interested in making the same move I did, call 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620. That's 855-678-6620, or visit them at regalassets.com. You'll be glad you did, and tell them Kerry sent you.
The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.